When I reviewed the Steelcase Leap chair 2 years ago, I said that if I had to pick the best chair for someone I had never met and my life depended on it, that I'm going with the Steelcase Leap. The Leap is an incredible chair. There's no chair we've recommended more, and I firmly believe it is the reason for getting rid of 10 years of my chronic back pain. Even still, I couldn't push its rank to the coveted S tier, which is our highest ranking for office chairs. At the time, that spot was only held by the Herman Miller Gaming Embody and the Hayworth Fern. So what was it about the Leap that kept me from pushing it to S tier? It was the Recline. The Leap does not have a traditional recline or a rocking motion like a lot of high-end chairs. Instead, the Recline has a little bit more friction with the front of the seat sliding forward as you recline the backrest. It doesn't feel quite as smooth, but it does keep you in an ergonomic position through the entire range. My experience up to that point had me geared more towards that rocking style with that smoother action. Aside from that, I thought the Leap was perfect. The seat was incredible. Not at first, admittedly, because it's more of a Fern design and it is a bit more stiff than the padded cushion I'd been coming from. But once I got used to it, I still have not found a more comfortable seat since I found the Leap. It has the right amount of padding for me, and it is highly flexible, so I can sit in the seat for 8 to 12 hours without an issue. The backrest is the same. Not overly padded, but soft enough to be very comfortable without being hot to sit in, which is a big deal for me because I do run warm. The back is very flexible and has a perfect shape to give that great lumbar support with the S-curve. I also feel that it has the best lumbar adjustment system on any high-end chair. It is both height and depth adjustable, and you also have the option to remove the pad completely to reduce the lumbar even more, which is the way that I use the chair. The arms are also top tier. They adjust in every direction with massive ranges, and the arm pads are soft, so they're super comfortable. A lot of people rave about the arms on the Steelcase gesture. I think the Leaps are better. And finally, the build. The Leap is arguably the most well-built chair on the planet. These chairs are built like tanks, and we regularly see them lasting 15 plus years. Even with so much positive, the less than perfect Recline made me hold this chair back from being S tier, and I placed it in A tier. Something changed for me in the 2 years since I made that review. I'm always on the hunt for the newest, best office chair because of what the Leap did for me initially. Turning back the clock about 7 to 8 years is when we really started getting into testing and using different high-end ergonomic chairs. At that time, I was a huge fan of the Nightingale CXO because of its thick memory foam seat. Also during that time, I was experiencing some of the worst back pain of my life. I was in constant discomfort, threw out my back a couple times, and was just overall in rough shape. The Leap changed that for me. Going from the CXO to the Leap was drastic, and it was a bit painful to start, but within a few weeks, my body adjusted, and within months, my back pain was gone. I was amazed. Even though I had been in the industry for over a decade at that point, I hadn't experienced something truly life-changing with a chair like I had with the Leap. But because of that imperfect Recline, I continued my hunt for a chair that was even better than the Leap. I purchased, tested, and compared hundreds of chairs. This allowed me to find the Gaming Embody and the Fern chair. These chairs were like the Leap when it came to the seat back and arm comfort, while also having phenomenal reclines. For that reason, I pushed those two chairs to S tier and held the Leap back at an A tier. In the past couple years, I've continued to test the latest and greatest additions to the market, but I always keep coming back to the Leap. Even though I had ranked two chairs higher than the Leap, I was realizing that I always chose to sit in the Leap over those two chairs when given the opportunity. I have the Leap at my home office. I have the Leap at my normal office. When we do live streams, I sit in the Leap. If there's a Leap in the conference room, I sit in the Leap. Why? Why is it that I keep choosing an A-tier chair when I have two other options that are ranked higher? It's because the Leap is my actual S-tier chair. On paper, the other chairs seem like better options. In practice, that's not been the case. Yes, the Embody and Fern have comfortable seats and backs. Not as comfortable as the Leap though. Yes, they have amazing arms, still not as good as the Leap. Yes, the Recline is better on those chairs than the Leap, but I've realized that the Leap's Recline is only marginally worse than those other options, while the comfort for me is noticeably greater. The gap between what the Leap does well is far greater than what it doesn't. As I make this review and talk about this with you, I'm coming to the realization here that there's only one chair in the world of the thousands of chairs that I've been able to use that is truly an S-tier rank. It's the Steelcase Leap. The Steelcase Leap is my unicorn of office chairs, but one thing that I know when it comes to chairs is that no chair is perfect. If you need some help with where to start your search, we have a great resource in the description of this video. It's called the Office Chair Cheat Sheet, and it's an awesome place to start if you're feeling a little bit lost.